Hi everyone, it's Eli. You know how sometimes you stumble upon something truly game-changing in healthcare? Well, I found it. KinetiSense. This cutting-edge motion capture technology is transforming movement, assessment, and recovery. Imagine getting instant AI-driven insights without any wearables on your patient. That's right, no ping pong balls needed. Just pure, accurate data. Perfect for boosting athletic performance, pinpointing imbalances, and refining rehab. Top professionals worldwide trust KinetiSense to maximize productivity and results. Check out our partner page to learn more. Experience the revolution in movement. Welcome to Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More, the podcast that gives you a viewpoint in sports medicine that can't be found anywhere else. I'm your host, Eli Hallak, and we have a fantastic show ahead of us today. So, let's get started. Welcome to Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More. Co-hosting today with us is Kristen Dizon of Agoura High School. How are you doing today, Kristen?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here. Hello, everyone.
And our guest today has a very unique background and profession. And we're looking forward to discussing what it's like being athletic training throughout his career. We have from Atrium Health, Sports Medicine and Health Wellness, the athletic training manager, Patrick Hassell. How are you doing today, Patrick?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited for the opportunity.
We're excited to have you here. I know we've been working on this for a little while. I know we had to reschedule once or twice, and I apologize. But hey, you're here now. We're excited about that.
That's right. That's right. Life happens, right?
Yeah. Oh, God. Especially as an athletic trainer. Don't we all know that? Life happens, games change, practices change, and we're the last ones to know. But we survived and just move forward. So, Patrick, you're out in Charlotte, North Carolina, correct?
Yep.
Tar Heel country. We won't say too much because we know some people are Tar Heel fans and some people aren't. All good.
Yep.
But you have kind of a unique background that really we wanted to get to. So if you don't mind telling us a little bit about your history as an athletic trainer, where you came from, how you got to where you're at today, and some of the stuff in the middle ground, especially those abbreviations, NASCAR, which we'll get to. We'd really like to hear about it.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start back kind of where I grew up. I grew up in Miami, Florida, played baseball as a kid through high school. You know, I didn't really have that story that a lot of folks have. You know, they had that, that one serious injury that's their first introduction to athletic training when they met their high school ATC. I did spend a little bit of time in there with kind of, some minor stuff, but nothing too crazy. But ended up attending University of Florida for undergrad. Knew I wanted to do something along the lines, something in, in health or science, or, I was interested in sports, obviously, but didn't quite know which way I wanted to take it. Kind of got to my junior or, the beginning of my junior year, end of my sophomore year, where it's like, hey, you got to decide, buddy. So ended up just kind of doing some observation hours in the athletic training room with the baseball program that summer at University of Florida, and just kind of fell in love with it. My preceptor was great, and he's a Hall of Famer. He's a CETA Hall of Famer, so he was a great resource to have. He's actually still there at University of Florida in more of an admin role, but
give him a little shout out. Who are we talking about there?
Duke Werner. I mean, he's the man. Dave Werner is his name, but he goes by Duke. So Duke was the baseball ATC for about 10 years, went on to be the basketball ATC. So he was the athletic trainer for the back-to-back national champions they had in 06, 07, I think it was. So he was a big part of that. And then now it's pretty cool. He has moved out of athletic training, and he's actually the sport administrator for the basketball program at University of Florida, which is kind of a big deal. And they just won the national championship a couple weeks ago. So he's on cloud nine right now for sure. But yeah, spending that summer with him was amazing, and just kind of seeing what he did day to day. And then I ended up applying for the athletic training undergraduate program and got accepted, and my first rotation was with University of Florida baseball that first year. So I got to work that season with them and made some good connections there. Hall of Fame head coach, Pat McMahon, with the Yankees organization now. So got a chance to work with him a little bit. And then my senior year went on to those other rotations. So kind of I got my taste of the high school rotation, and I got a little bit of that intramural sports and all that stuff. So that, you kind of bounce around and see some different stuff, but knew ultimately that I wanted to find a graduate assistantship in baseball. Put out some feelers and interviewed at a couple different places and ended up at Clemson as the baseball graduate assistant. At the time, us old timers as GAs, like we were just kind of thrown into it, right? Like you are the person, like you are in charge. You may or may not
Good
know.
luck. Here's your gear.
Exactly,
Good luck.
exactly. We're hoping and assuming you know what you're doing, right? So my first season with them was incredible. We were the number one team in the country. We won the ACC championship. We were the number one team going into the College World Series. We had first rounders that were drafted that year. And I'm just like, oh man, this is easy. Like, is this what it's like every year? So it was incredible, for a first year, having that experience. Second year went pretty well, not quite as good, but pretty well. We had a good team, but kind of got to that point, finishing the graduate assistantship, time to be a big boy and find a job somewhere. So the head coach at Clemson was good friends with the head coach at University of Louisville at the time. And Louisville was looking for an athletic trainer that summer. Coaches talk, they're like, hey, do you got a guy? I need a guy, that sort of thing. And building relationships definitely helps in that situation, right?
Network, right?
100%.
That's a
100%.
part.
It is. It really is. So ended up going for the interview in Louisville, got the job there, spent 4 seasons there, had some pretty good runs there, but had an opportunity after that 4th year to return to University of Florida to the baseball program as a full-time ATC. So back to the alma mater where it all started, first rotation, So that was a pretty neat opportunity that I couldn't really pass up, having gone to school there and still having family in Florida. So went down there, spent I guess my first season there, similar to Clemson, number one team in the country, won all the things, all the first rounders. I'd have to preface this by saying this has nothing to do with me because all these people were there before I got there.
I was going to say,
you keep being there though. So
at what point
know.
do coaches start going, hey, Pat, come on over, be part of our staff, please?
Whether it's blind luck or, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but definitely had some pretty cool experiences during that time. So spent 2 seasons there. And then after that second season, the University of Louisville actually reached out to me and to see if I had any interest in going back, but it would be in an elevated role as associate director in the department. So still going back to baseball, taking care of those guys, same coaching staff, a lot of the same players were still there, but just having more of an administrative role within our department and helping, create policy and kind of help make some decisions and kind of bring things along and growing our department. So that was a tough decision. That was really tough, leaving, University of Florida and heading back to Louisville. Average temperature difference is probably about 50 degrees too between Louisville and
just
Gainesville,
a little bit,
Florida.
Yikes.
So when you think Louisville, Kentucky, people think Kentucky is the South, but Louisville is basically Ohio. I mean, it's you're creeping up there. So it's at the northern part of the state. But anyway, so ended up returning to Louisville, was there for 8 more seasons, a couple more trips to the College World Series during that time. I think 3 out of those 8 years we went to the World Series, had some really good seasons there. And then, just kind of got to that point where what's next? I think in the collegiate setting, a lot of times it's hard to really move up into a director or an assistant AD role unless you're working the footballs and the basketballs, right? So as a baseball athletic trainer, I kind of felt like I'd reached a bit of my ceiling in that role. Still loved what I did with the baseball guys, but you get to a point where you kind of you're ready for the next challenge. In order to to kind of build up my, I guess, managerial experience, just kind of managing people, that sort of thing. I took a role with Norton Healthcare, working with Tiff Haub, who I know you all know from previous interviews, and I know how much. Yeah,
Fantastic person. Oh my God, I love her.
big shout out to Tiff.
Hey
Um,
Tiff, how you doing today?
so Tiff and I obviously worked at Louisville together when she was a softball AT and I was the baseball AT. So we spent a lot of time kind of bouncing ideas off each other at the time. But then, she had gone to Norton, and then I kind of followed her about a year and a half later. And my role there was I was the manager of a newly opening sports performance center. The hospital system wanted to kind of get, into that side of things, and kind of wanted to, they want to treat the whole athlete from prevention, treatment, strength and conditioning, like you name it. Like they wanted to kind of have a little piece of that. So they invested a lot of money and opened this new sports performance center, and I had the opportunity to manage it. Now I was only there about a year until I kind of moved on to the next opportunity, but that was a pretty neat experience. Very different, very felt a little uncomfortable at times, right? I mean, just kind of, do I really know what I'm doing here? Like running this place, like, you're running a business basically, is what it was. So, there's the looking at profit loss statements and that sort of thing. But then also, I mean, I think the aha moment was when I found myself plunging toilets because it just had to get done. So sometimes as the manager, you got to go back there and just do it.
Duties
Gotta
as
do it.
assigned.
That's right.
There you
Exactly.
go. That's it right
100,
there.
100%, 100%. So basically just kind of again, a different opportunity for growth, for me to learn some different stuff. But it was only in that role for a year. I was kind of at a point where I decided, I was ready to leave Louisville, leave the city of Louisville. So had a brief stint as a physician extender at MUSC in Charleston, working with the PM&R physician. Again, very different, great learning opportunity. Learned a lot of different things about kind of all the different interventions that are out there that we don't really learn about as athletic trainers, with all the different outpatient procedures they do, like epidural injections and all those different, pain management procedures that they do. So that was pretty neat to kind of see all that behind the scenes and help with that.
So for some of our friends out there that don't know what PMR is, because that's not a common one. I know it really well. Our former team physician was a PM&R. Can you tell our listeners what a
Yeah,
PM&R
yeah,
physician
yeah.
is?
So PM&R is physical medicine and rehabilitation. So basically they see a lot of orthopedic conditions, but they treat it from they're non-op, right? So they are looking for they're looking to exhaust every possible avenue before somebody needs surgery. Now, a lot of those injuries or a lot of those conditions that come into PM&R tend to be spine, just because that is, I think with their skills and diagnostics, doing those injections, I think that's kind of their bread and butter, is treating the spine really all the way from top to bottom. But they see everything. A lot of times we got referrals from ortho to PM&R for not only for spine, but for, all kinds of other things, neuropathies, any kind of, numbness or tingling or pain going down extremities. Those can all be treated through some of these conservative procedures. Very limited experience seeing some of that stuff throughout my college career. Occasionally you saw an epidural here and there for a guy with a disc issue, but it was pretty neat to see all that and kind of what it looked like behind the scenes.
And as a clinician, man, their diagnostic skills, because their
Mhm.
goal is to prevent surgery. Shout out to Dr. Robert Gazmarian, who worked with me for 20 years. They're incredible. They are so good at picking up on the little nuances that actually is the problem. Want to make sure everybody knew what a PM&R physician
Yeah,
was.
yeah, no, that's a really good point. Spent that time down in Charleston, and then had during that time the job here in Charlotte popped up as the athletic training manager with Atrium. So this was I'm coming up on 2 years. It'll be 2 years in July since I first started. But what that looks like for me right now, my day to day, the way we have it set up, we have three managers, outreach managers within our department. So each of us kind of has a certain market within Charlotte. So there's the north, the central, and the south market. So I have the South Market. I have 31 direct reports right now. So 29 of them are athletic trainers. Two of them are actually, we call them our school-based EMTs, and we can talk about that a little bit later. It's kind of something that we're kind of just getting off the ground right now. These athletic trainers that I oversee, the majority of them are in high schools. We have a few that are in middle schools. We've got one who works part-time with us as a floater, and she also covers USA women's rugby. So she's actually traveling right now. I think she's in California, actually, doing training camp right now.
We'll have to
With that
find her
team.
and say hello,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Kristen?
Make a lunch.
Yep,
That's right. That's
totally.
right. I'm sure she'd be in. She'd be in. And then the NASCAR partnership that we have with 2311. 2311 is the name of the team that we work with, and that one is about, we are in our second season with them right now. So we just started in basically January of last year with that outfit.
That is a lot of people to be in charge of. So 31, 29 ATs. And you said most of them were at the high school setting.
Correct.
So that's, managing one, let alone two over here at our school's daunting sometimes, let alone 31. Oh my God, because all the different schedules and
Yep.
problems pop up. And it's nice to have a floater, like you said, to help out in another situation.
Exactly.
But then you throw in go fast, turn left, go fast, turn left, go fast, turn left. NASCAR. How? How did that come to be?
So pretty interesting. It was December, not this past December, but December of, I guess that'd be 23, right around Christmas time. And our AVP, Jennifer Gardner, sends a group of us a text. It's just a random evening after Christmas,
Those
and
always make me nervous. Those kind of
100%,
texts. Uh-oh, wait a
100%.
minute.
Because most people are kind of like, on, low key schedules that time of year, not a whole lot going on. So if something pops up, we're like, okay, we got something. What do we got? Long story short, when Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin come calling for you to work with their NASCAR team, you're gonna pick up the phone.
I would say yes. Yes. What can we do? Yes.
So Jennifer basically reached out to us and just said, "Hey, this is coming on board here in the next couple weeks after the holidays. Let's come up with a game plan for covering in the short term until we hire somebody to take over, that team full time." The next day, I kind of popped in her office and said, "Jennifer, can we talk?" And I kind of asked, I kind of put it out there that, like, hey, I would love to handle this at least until we get somebody in place. And even after we get somebody in place, I'd love to continue to be a part in this.
Such an opportunity that only a handful of people can say they have. So cool.
100%, 100%. It was unbelievable. Full disclosure, not a NASCAR guy. Never really was a NASCAR guy, right?
But you were living in Charlotte. That's like, how do you say that? Somebody's gonna tar and feather you pretty soon.
So
I mean,
I
gotta
am
watch
now.
that.
I am now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You've learned.
Forgiven.
I
Got it.
have. And again, that was part of it, right? Like, this is something new and cool and something I didn't know a whole lot about. What an opportunity to kind of like dive into something and learn a new sport and help our department, but then, kind of selfishly learn something cool for myself. So myself and one of our other managers, initially we started covering their pit practices in January. We kind of split that coverage primarily. So I'll say this. So they did not have their full facility built at the start of that partnership. It was just about done. It was about 85% done. So they were still kind of putting the finishing touches on some of those things. So we were working kind of out of a satellite facility. At that time, we were just covering practices pretty much and doing a couple of treatments with what we had available, because this all happened so fast. We didn't have anything, right? Like, we're scrambling. We found a portable table to bring over, and we're doing treatments on that. And, at this point, like, we're using our hands. Like, that's all we got. So, you go on Amazon, you buy a $10 instrument to do some scraping, and that's about it. We had those are the two things that we had for our treatment. It was crazy. It just all came together so quickly. During that time, obviously, I started the recruiting process, trying to find a full-time athletic trainer. And it got to, we had some pretty interesting conversations. So I'll tell you this, the 2311 team, their management and their coaching and everything they do, they are, I'd say, a little non-traditional and very outside of the box. Like they are not the good old boys of NASCAR that are going to do things the way they've always been done.
Good to shake things up.
100%, 100%.
Well, obviously, if they're going out and reaching out to get an athletic trainer on site to take care of their team, that's
Yep,
really outside the box.
yep, 100%. So their goal was to get a full-time AT that's just going to be with them, because there are a few other partnerships here in the Charlotte area where an AT will be with a particular NASCAR team in the morning and then go out to a high school or a clinic or something in the afternoon, or vice versa. But 2311 wanted their own dedicated person. Like, hey, we want our person to be with us, and us to be the only thing they have to worry about. They also wanted a full-time strength and conditioning coach just for them. So they actually made an incredible hire. I was part of that process in terms of interviewing, but they ended up hiring one of the assistant strength coaches from the Charlotte Hornets, who just kind of bopped across town and came over and started working with them. He comes with some great experience, and he, again, like, he is, I guess all of these guys, really, the athletes themselves they're treated like athletes, right? They're treated like top-notch athletes, collegiate, professional, whatever athletes.
And they
I think
are. I mean, let's
They
face
are.
it, they are. Go ahead, Kristen. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. I was gonna say like, so I know just enough about NASCAR to get me in trouble. My dad raced cars, so shout out to Car 54, Don Rogers.
There you go.
And he raced like local tracks and everything. So like every Saturday, that's what I did. People don't realize like how taxing like pit crews are and like everything the driver goes through. And I can't even imagine at the NASCAR level and at like the highly competitive level, but there's so much more that goes into that, being able to change the tire within 7 seconds and like what is happening?
100%. Yeah. I mean, these guys are former college football athletes, college baseball. I think there's maybe somebody who's got some wrestling experience. Regardless of the position, they all have to be quick on their feet, right? Because they got to get around that car. Some have to be stronger than others. So you've got the kind of the five positions of the pit crew, right? So you've got the two changers, you've got the jack man, you've got the gas man, and you have typically one tire carrier. So you're allowed to have five kind of running around the car. You're also allowed a sixth utility person, but that person is only allowed to do the strip off the windshield, and kind of clean that off when needed. These guys, like I said, they all have to be quick. They all have to have a certain amount of strength to them. The jackman and the fueler, or the gas man, those guys are definitely the stronger of the group. You've got the gas man's carrying these, gosh, I don't even know what they weigh when they're full, but those things are huge. Those tanks that they're having to carry and pop into a small little hole on the side of the car. And then the jack man, he's responsible for getting the car up quickly and getting it down quickly. So there's a lot of crazy moving parts for sure.
Hiring a strength and conditioning coach and athletic trainer, like they know they just have to get better and better. Like the timing on these pit stops is so much faster than it used to be, and they have to elevate, and that's awesome that they did.
Yep. And they do it just like any other professional sport. They're taking video during practice of all their pit stops and analyzing each rep and calling out, hey, this needs to be faster, this needs to be different. It's pretty cool to see it all kind of happen during practice and how it all kind of comes together. But it's literally just like any other professional sport with the resources they have and everything they put into it.
I presume the reason they're using, well, not necessarily Rep U, but that's what we see a lot at the high school level, some type of video caption, and they want to be quick, they want to be efficient, they want to decrease time, get their driver back out there so they can make a better time. And well, let's face it, they want to win. Being stronger, being faster, being quicker, strength conditioning, and then when necessary, the athletic trainer assists with whatever, well, let's face it, tendinopathies, overuse injuries, strains, sprains, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure every now and then there's a accidental fracture involved.
Hmm.
I mean, I know I've seen enough races in my time where someone doesn't get out of the way of the car quick enough.
Yeah, I mean that can happen jumping off the wall and landing funny. You've got kind of hoses and wires hanging out for the guns that are used for the tire changing. So if that thing's in the way and you're jumping off the wall and landing on that hose, I mean you may crack an ankle or do something on the way down. So plenty of opportunity to get hurt if you're not paying attention. That's for sure.
Especially with the little space they have to maneuver.
Exactly. Yep. Shout out to our athletic trainer who's working with them because he has so he started in March of that year, of that first season, late March. Actually, let me take it one step back. Before he started, first race of the year, Daytona 500. It's two days before the race, and I get a call that one of the drivers is having some issues down there. Because at the time, I'm not there. I'm here in Charlotte, so we didn't send anybody. We didn't send an athletic trainer on that trip just because it was all so new, right? And we didn't know, like, does an athletic trainer need to travel on every race? Or are we just going to go every other or every whatever? So we're still trying to figure some of that stuff out at the time. And 2 days before the race, something's going on with one of our drivers. And I said, well, I mean, if you can get me a hotel room, I can get down there. Next thing I know, the next morning I'm flying down to Daytona and treating our driver and attending my first NASCAR race, and it's the Daytona 500. So
What a first race. Like it's
Hot damn.
just a
Wow.
little NASCAR race, Daytona.
pretty cool. Pretty cool. So the day before the race, they have the kind of the qualifying, or not the qualifying races, but the pole to see who's going to start where. So that particular driver actually won the pole that day. So I'm standing in the winner's circle on like the first race that I've ever seen because this guy won the pole. I'm like, what is going on here?
Again, greatness keeps following you. So
yes.
I'm not like how many different teams can you have that are winning before it's you?
Well, unfortunately, we didn't win the big one the next day. We did not win on Sunday. That if that had happened, then I don't know. I may have just retired at that point and like I don't know
I've done it
what else
all.
to do. I don't know what else to do.
But at that point, now the question is, did the team decide that there needed to be an athletic trainer embedded with the NASCAR team with 2311 at all times?
Yeah. So throughout that first season, so CJ Walker's our athletic trainer who we hired. We actually hired him away from University of Georgia. So CJ is actually from the area. He's from Gastonia, North Carolina. He has a passion for motorsports. He always has. He's grown up around it. This is a dream come true for him, right? And honestly, hiring CJ, man, like what luck we had with that, like being able to pull him away from Georgia. When we were going through the hiring process, trying to figure out like what makes a good NASCAR athletic trainer, like who would succeed in this role. And we talked about the different positions of the pit crew, right? So we've got former athletes who are all pretty quick, some bigger and stronger than others. And then we started thinking about like, so CJ is a track athletic trainer, track and field at University of Georgia. So
That's
track,
that
right?
diversity.
Yeah, you got everything, right? You got big guys, small guys, you got sprinters, you got distance, you got throwers. He's seen it all, right? Like he's treating everything, all those different body types that are coming through the door. That's CJ taking care of that. So once we kind of started thinking about it and kind of thinking about where he was coming from and what he would be doing in this role, we're like, man, this just makes total sense. Like this is our guy. He has stepped in and he's crushing it. He's absolutely crushing it to his own detriment a little bit because now they want him all the time, right? Like they literally want him at every race, and we try to protect him a little bit. But yeah, I mean, he is a hot commodity, that's for sure.
That's what happens when you overperform, right?
Yep. You got to set the bar low, But yeah, he's been incredible in that role. They had a great year last year. Tyler Reddick, who drives the 45, he made it all the way to the finals in Arizona last year. So that's the top four. So I can't remember exactly where he finished in that top four, but pretty solid year. And he did win the regular season championship too. So he was number one in points at the end of the regular season. So really incredible year for him. I mean, I know CJ did work with him a good bit. on a few things. So, but yeah, like just being in that role, it's so unique, not just because of the athletes that you're treating. Obviously the drivers have different needs and different things going on, but it's kind of a combination of professional sports, industrial, kind of the industrial setting, and kind of like that corporate health as well, because they've got over 100 employees in that building. And CJ, he's the type of guy that he's going to help anybody that needs help, like anybody that comes through that door and like ask for him to take a look at something or something's bothering them. So he's got the athletes themselves, he's got the coaches, he's got the shop workers that are down there, with their things going on, and then just kind of the HR people and the marketing people and like the office people too. So that's kind of more the corporate side of things. He's doing it all, and like I said, he's crushing it right now.
I feel like you also like you have all those patients essentially, and then you also have to think about like all the healthcare providers he has to work with. Like obviously day to day, he
Yep.
may be the only one with him and the strength and conditioning coach, but you go to a race and you have all the fire and you have everything. So I'm sure like the day of working with all of those professionals and figuring out whose role is what is also a next step to the multiple of things that have to happen.
Yeah, no, 100%. And kind of like along those lines, here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, so Atrium is kind of in charge of all the infield care center. So the infield care center takes care of basically the drivers, the crews, and just kind of anybody besides the spectators, right? But on top of that, we do also staff the first aid stations around the speedway for spectators as well. So that partnership's been going on for 20, 25 years now at this point. So that's pretty long standing.
And on a race day, there are just a couple people in the stands you're taking care of potentially.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
what are we looking at? A couple 100,000, right?
So Charlotte is not quite that big.
Okay.
But it is a bigger one. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, but it's under 100 for sure.
All right. That's still a lot of people to
It is. It
might
is. Yeah.
need a little help out there in
Yep.
the stands.
Yep. And our two big races are Memorial Day weekend, which is, nice and chilly, nice cool weather.
No
And
heat,
there's,
no
yeah,
humidity.
no, nothing to worry about. No, and definitely no alcohol being consumed.
Absolutely none. It's
That
a
doesn't
dry
happen. Come
weekend,
on.
right? Yeah, dry weekend for sure.
So that presents some challenges. There's also a fall race, which is the road course that they set up, which is pretty neat, where they, instead of just going around and around in circles, they set up different twists and turns throughout the course to make it resemble more of, you're driving through roads instead of, high speed speedways.
My dad did figure eights and he said, real drivers can do more than turn left.
Yeah,
You got to do that at the
100%.
road course.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
there's a quote from a driver. I like that one.
We had a couple of us had an opportunity right before the road course to ride along with the drivers driving through the road course. We're talking
Well,
like
scary.
it is. They're telling you you're putting on the fire suit and you're putting on the helmet and you're putting all these things on and they're strapping you in there in the passenger seat. And I'm like, okay, what's about to happen here? I got to ride along with both drivers in separate cars doing that course, and that just gives you like a whole different appreciation for their talent and their skill. It's pretty wild.
Now, did they make you strap on the Han system as well, or no?
We did not go that far with me. No, 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 no.
Just curious.
Yeah, yeah. I was the last ride of the day, so got to do donuts afterwards because there's nobody else to drive. So he just started spinning out and doing donuts.
That would be my dream right there. Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
it was pretty neat. It was pretty neat.
Elevate your knowledge, ignite your curiosity, and compete with the best minds at events hosted by the American Academic Competition Institute. AACI's sports medicine competitions feature practical exercises, challenging quizzes, specialty tests, and keynote speakers that foster knowledge and social engagement in healthcare and sports medicine. Go to aacitest.org for more information on upcoming regional and national competitions. Sign up for the ultimate intellectual showdown. Question for you. You said that CJ sounds a lot like Kristen, myself, probably even you, Patrick, many athletic trainers. We just want to help. We don't care who,
Hmm.
whether it's staff, administration, HR, pit crew, driver. So, what kind of facility have you set up on site for CJ to work with? What kind of clinic setup does he have?
Yeah. So he's got, I mean, in terms of square footage, if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably around, I don't know, maybe 800 square feet or so. It's attached to a pretty good size weight room where our strength coach obviously works with the guys. But he's got what you would expect in a professional training room. He's got 3 tables, a hot and cold tub. They've got a sauna built in there because Denny Hamlin loves his sauna.
Got to keep him happy.
That's right. That's right. To get things started, we didn't want CJ to show up in March with nothing. So we kind of put together a basic order with, kind of your combo units and some of your other modalities and supplies. And then CJ kind of had the opportunity to kind of build on that according to what he likes to do, as well as the strength coach too. So the strength coach, like I said, he's got a really good background and he dives into the sports science side of things quite a bit. So they're using force plates and motion analysis and all those tools to work with these guys and kind of improve performance.
I'm sure it's great to be a company like 2311 that wants to do change and wants to do new things because
Yeah.
they can throw out some ideas that may seem crazy to people and adapt to what they know is going to be best for those athletes.
Yep, 100%. So the first meeting that we had back in January in front of the entire company, so that's all the drivers, all the shop workers, everything, and we said, hey, we're gonna, I kind of introduced myself and said, we talked about we're looking to hire an athletic trainer, so that'll be coming soon, and we're really excited to take care of you guys, blah 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 blah. And then one guy had a question. He said, have you like at pointing kind of at me, knowing that I was going to be kind of the point person, said, have you ever worked like in NASCAR or worked with pit crews or anything like that before? And I was like, oh crap, like what? Like, no, I haven't. So, but I didn't know what to say. Like, I didn't want him to be upset that I hadn't, but I kind of went along the lines of, no, but I've got some good experience with high level athletes, and feel confident that I can help you guys achieve your goals. Blah 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 blah. And he's like, oh no, you misunderstood. I'm happy that you don't have experience with NASCAR
Interesting.
because if you did, then like my point earlier, you could be one of those guys who just does things how they've always been done. You know, so he was excited.
Wow.
He was
Wow.
excited that somebody was coming in without preconceived notions of what a NASCAR athlete does or needs or wants. So that right there was like, whew, you could take a deep breath and kind of like, okay, we got this. Like, we're gonna be okay.
They were on board.
100%. Yep. Yep.
It's nice to have buy-in when you're there as a clinician.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. I think during my time there working in that role, I kind of worked to build some buy-in into what I was doing. But then when CJ stepped in, kind of starting from square one, right? Because they don't know him just like they didn't know me.
Guy
But
on the block.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But he has, oh man, like it's amazing. So I kind of have a spreadsheet that CJ and I keep in terms of kind of tracking, encounters and, how many people are coming in day to day, month to month, that sort of thing. And it's amazing. Like you can see the numbers just creeping up and up and up. Like as he continues to get embedded in there, then like the word gets out and they're like, hey, the CJ guy knows what he's talking about. So yeah, it's funny looking at that spreadsheet and kind of where it started when nobody wanted to see me or him or whoever to now. I mean, he's a busy guy, that's for sure.
Well, one thing's for sure, they got it right in the movie. Build it and they will come. Because once they get comfortable, once they buy in, once they know that you have a qualified individual that's there to take care of them,
Yep.
yep, they keep going. I hear
Yep.
that from our former AD all the time. 30 years ago, nobody was in the training room. We didn't even have an athletic trainer. I'm like, yeah, now look, the facility you built's too small. We need bigger
Yep.
because
It's
And they're going to realize it's more than just injuries, it's prevention, and that's even more important. So he's going to keep getting real busy.
It's a huge recruiting tool that they use also, because they have developmental teams as well. There's pit crews for each car, but then there's like a Devo team is what they call it. So these guys, some of them have never done anything, and they were picked at like right out of college, off of their football teams or whatever at recruiting events. So some of the folks from 2311 and the different NASCAR teams, they'll actually travel around to college fairs and stuff
Wow.
like that, and even to like college pro days for like football guys, that sort of thing. It's pretty interesting how all that works, but they're recruiting these guys, and they're selling the vision of, if you're a Power 5, D1 football player, and you're used to having your athletic trainer and your strength coach and all the bells and whistles and all the toys, that's what we have too. You're just going to kind of continue that and then some. So I know that's a huge part of, they brag on CJ, and Jason is the strength coach. They brag on Jason all the time too in their recruiting pitches, because at the end of the day, having those two things in place, having those two programs in place is only going to help these guys last longer in the sport. That's the big pitch that they make to not just the young guys, but even if you're trying to sign an older guy who thinks they're on the last leg, you could say, hey, we think you got a few more years left in you, because we've got these two guys who are going to get you right.
No,
I was
all
I have
you.
to commend you and CJ because I don't think you guys realize like how much advocacy you're doing for like athletic training in the profession, and like it comes from CJ and you just doing great work. That is incredible because that's going to get around, and I'm sure that more and more teams are going to start hiring athletic trainers full time because they're going to see what 2311's doing and why they're performing well and how to make their team better.
It's happening. It's happening. They see it. It's funny. Everybody knows CJ now. Part of that might be because he has to wear a bright teal polo on race
Yes.
days. Pops out our Atrium colors. Everybody at the track is seeing CJ, and they're like, "Why aren't we doing that?" I feel like there's a shift that's happening right now.
And
Yeah, it's
going
going to
and
take
going
time.
back just a minute ago, really, he is a career extender. That's
100%.
exactly what it is. He's going to help people. Maybe it's that old pro that they're trying to get back in the car for next
Hmm.
year. You've got it. Why not flaunt it?
Yep.
You can extend his career as an athletic trainer. And wow, I don't know about Teal though. I don't know how that goes with me, but that's pretty cool.
Team Teal, baby.
Team Teal. I like
There
that.
we go.
So CJ's been there now about a year and a half,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
And obviously making an impact. Is Atrium talking about expanding into other areas?
So I think, some of that is way above my pay grade, obviously.
Fair enough. Fair
You
enough.
know, I would imagine that people are seeing what we're doing for 2311 and are interested in seeing if that's something that we can do for them in the NASCAR world. In a general sense, I mean, we are always growing. I mean, we've got, as a Atrium is kind of spread out over, we're in Charlotte, we're in kind of the Wake Forest region, we're down into Macon, Georgia. We're kind of, spread out throughout the Southeast. But in our Charlotte market, we employ over 125 full-time athletic trainers, in addition to probably another 25 or so PRN athletic trainers. So we are definitely one of the biggest on the East Coast. I don't know where that would rank us nationally, but we are up there.
Want to come to California? We could use some more ATs out here. We can make some stuff work.
We
Yeah,
really
yeah,
could. Yeah. Got
yeah.
to
I
get
mean,
licensure first, though. But we're
right,
working
yeah,
on that. We're working on that. We're getting there.
Just
yeah,
some red tape.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. Less than 2 years that I've been here, the growth has been pretty insane. Since I've started, we've added a lot of these middle school partnerships. We've added a couple colleges and universities. So we have partnerships with 8 local colleges and universities. Some of them where their athletic trainers are our employees. Some of them where we're just providing, medical services, physician coverage, that sort of thing. It's a huge organization. We also are partners with Carolina Panthers in the NFL, Charlotte FC in the MLS. So Charlotte FC, they have their first team, which is the MLS team. their second team, which is Crown Legacy FC, and then their academy teams, which is kind of like the youth program. With the first team, we have one athletic trainer embedded with them. With the second team, we have two. And then with the academy, we have two currently. So that's a big partnership that we have. But a lot of other cool things that we are a part of in Charlotte. So basically, any major event that comes through Bank of America Stadium, which is where the Panthers play, or kind of the Charlotte Convention Center, we have a part in. So, for example, like my schedule this summer of events that I've signed up for to work, which are kind of outside of my normal duties. So I'm working Savannah Bananas. I'm
I
working
love those videos.
yeah,
I'm very jealous.
Savannah Bananas. We've got the PGA Championship that's here in Charlotte this summer. We've got Metallica's coming here in a month.
Oh
We
yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
we've got Shakira. If you're a Shakira person, Shakira is going to be here. Yeah,
So
last
you're
summer.
saying that you're very bored at work consistently.
Yeah, it really it's hard to find stuff to do. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, last summer we worked the BMX World Championships, which is something pretty neat. All kinds of different events that we kind of have our hands in and gives us, we put EMTs, paramedics, nurses, and athletic trainers at most of these events. So it's pretty unique to see a lot of the different things that we're able to see that you wouldn't normally see.
So really, you're bringing multi-disciplines together, making it a multidisciplinary event for
Yep,
the medical
100%.
staff,
Yep.
which that's the way that many people are pushing the profession, which is good. We're all in the same sandbox. We should
Yeah,
really be working together.
yeah, everyone has their strengths and everyone has their weaknesses, and like together as a team, that's what we need to be doing.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
Whatever.
it's like for example, like to that point, like at the Panthers games, we'll usually partner up an athletic trainer with an EMT or a paramedic. So if there's a call, then those two go out together and they work it together. We're learning from each other, learning about each other's roles. A lot of people don't know what athletic trainers do. I do feel like people in our department understand that, but if you take one of our athletic trainers and they try to explain what they do to an EMT or paramedic or nurse that doesn't work for Atrium Health, they're like, oh, you're the person that gets people like big and strong, like just no
What
clue.
gym do you work at?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, how do I lose 10 pounds?
Like I can answer that, but that's not what I do.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
We do a
Yeah.
little bit more than that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And
100%.
that's one of the reasons we do the podcast, to educate. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Now, I want to give a shout out to a few specific high schools. Don't know if you work with them,
Okay.
but we have some colleagues out there that I've got to know over the years. Raleigh, obviously, Raleigh High School, Leeville High School, Wake Forest High School, and Franklinton High School out in North Carolina. A little shout out to all four schools who we know through our National Association and Honor Society.
Nice.
So great schools, great athletic trainers. Sarah Williams over there at Franklinton. She's new to our association, and just a little shout out, say hello, since we're
I love
talking
it.
about locals out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
great
No, I
schools,
love
great
it.
people.
Yep.
You've been with Atrium for a while and really seen a lot of things evolve. I bet you get a little nervous when your text bings right around Christmas time now and wonder what's up next. I'm curious, when you were back embedded, so to speak, with the team on NASCAR, what were the kind of things? That's always a question my students ask me when I start talking about different aspects of athletic training. What type of injuries or overuse injuries, what were you treating on the day-to-day scenarios?
Yeah, I'd say the most common things were usually, kind of your low backs and your wrists and shoulders, just from having to bend over, pick these things up, run around a car with them. If you are not using good mechanics to do all these things, those reps are going to add up pretty quick. So those were probably the biggest things. So something else, kind of going back to the uniqueness of this role and kind of it being a hybrid industrial, corporate kind of thing, going back to CJ being the man. So he actually had some input into one of the driver's seats from an ergonomic standpoint, because one of the drivers was having a hip issue, and just like CJ would fix it, it would feel better, and then he'd go out and drive, and it would pop right back up, right? So CJ is like, hey, can we take a look at this seat, and like, is there anything we can do there? So he had kind of the foresight, to kind of to think about that and look at that and make corrections there to kind of fix those issues. But yeah, I mean, backs for sure. The drivers themselves. So I'll tell you something that happened. I was actually at this race a couple weeks ago in Phoenix, going back to Tyler Reddick. We're in the third stage of the race. So basically is the third of the race. Power steering goes out. No power steering.
Yikes.
Yeah. So imagine driving, 160 to 180, trying to navigate turns, trying to not run into somebody with no power steering in a car that towards the end of a race, and the car's 110, 120 degrees in there, and he is just white knuckling it, like just grabbing onto that steering wheel as hard as he can. And like, he was able to finish the race, but at the end of it, you could hear him on the radio. He's like, I gotta see CJ. Like he was
Making that
calling.
appointment now.
Yeah, he was calling for his guy, and we all knew it too. Like as soon as we knew the power steering was out, we're like, oh man, he is gonna be hurting, whether it's today or tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah, those are the things that I saw with the pit crew. Those low backs, I'd say, was definitely the majority.
That makes a lot of sense too,
Yeah, yeah,
with like you said, the bending, the mechanics. And if you're not biomechanically sound, oh my God, that's got to just go quick.
yeah, yeah. If you're not paying attention to every rep and you kind of go haphazardly about one, like that could be the one that puts you out for a week.
You don't want to
Did
miss a
they
week. Yeah.
do they have backups? Like, how does this work? Like, is there
Yeah,
guys that are waiting to take a spot, and like, do they have to vie for their spot every week like other
kind of.
athletes?
Yeah, kind of. So there is a backup car that does compete every so often. So there's a backup driver and a backup car. They don't race every race. I don't know what the cadence is as far as how often they do. They practice every day just like everybody else. They're always kind of ready to go. And then you also have, like I said, the Devo group, who's probably a little step behind that backup car crew. But there's plenty of guys that are available to step in. You just hope you don't miss too much when you have to make a move like that.
Goal is to get them back, but you have to have those guys just in case.
Yeah, yeah. And these guys, I mean, they're athletes going to be athletes, right? Like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Like, I'm not, I don't need to miss today. Like,
So my hands pointed in the wrong direction. Oh, I'm fine. I got this covered. Don't worry.
yeah, that
Just tape
tingling,
it. It's fine.
that tingling going down my leg, like, that's fine. I can get through that.
No big deal. I'll be okay by the time we get out to the racetrack.
Exactly. Exactly.
We've all heard something at some point there, that's for sure.
No doubt. No doubt about it.
We value you and your time and your commitment to talking to us and the profession. And we know we don't like to keep you more than around an hour. But if you could go back in time, look at yourself and go, hey, Patrick, you might want to do this to set yourself up for success later.
Mm.
What is that something you would tell yourself back in your 20s to do or prep for?
Yeah, I mean, I think very early on in my career, I probably could have done a better job of just kind of collaborating with the rest of the performance team. When you're first starting out, you're kind of looking inward more than anything else. You're like trying to make sure that you're not screwing anything up, so you're kind of trying to stay in your comfort zone and just trying to work on yourself and work on your own skills, however you think that's going to be best achieved. And later on in my career, I just realized the more that I worked with and asked questions from, not only other athletic trainers, but like my strength coaches, my dietitians, like everybody that I worked with, even my sport coaches. I mean, just working baseball and like just sitting in the bullpen and watching, a pitching coach work with his pitchers and just hearing him talk to his guys and some of the cues that they're giving, just learning more about the sport and how they coach it goes a long way in, kind of helping you as a clinician you're better able to identify things when you know a little bit about more what's going on, with a particular sport. So I think just making the rounds and collaborating with as many people as you can and trying to soak up as much as you can and make yourself a little uncomfortable sometimes. Like you got to realize like you don't know everything. You're not going to know everything. So just get out there and try to learn as much as you can.
Yeah, very good.
You're talking about how hot the inside of the car gets, like 110, 120 degrees, all of that. Twice a year I go to my parents, we got a big race party, and I see them drinking, like they have something throughout
Hmm.
the race, like, and I'm sure like hydration and like prep is really important. So like, what are they drinking? How do you deal with heat illness? Like, how is that? Like, that's a whole EAP I have not even thought of.
Yeah, yeah. So the drivers, they kind of have a hydration system that's in there with them. It's kind of like it's a it's a glorified version of kind of like a Camelback, right? Like you got your reservoir with your fluids. So whatever they're drinking is kind of driver dependent. Some just want the water, some want, something with some electrolytes. The utility man who's part of the pit crew, the other responsibility that he has is he can actually hand a bottle to a driver, so he
Interesting.
can actually he can throw some electrolyte powder and some water, mix it up for him, hand it to the driver so he can sip on some of that during a stop. So that's kind of how hydration is maintained during the race. But yeah, it's a challenge because I mean, just imagine these cars. It's like when you're driving your own car and the AC's off, but the
Yeah.
thermostat's all the way up, and you're getting all that heat coming off the engine that kind of gets in the car.
No
Don't.
idea what you're talking about. That AC, it could be 60 degrees out and my AC's on. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and then add a fire suit and a helmet on top
Yeah.
of that, right?
Oh my God.
So it's a lot. It's a lot. So these guys are pretty wiped out after those races.
How much weight are they losing during a race?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. Honestly, you guys need to bring CJ on one day. I'm telling you, CJ is going to give you a whole other side, to this story.
We'll bring you back and CJ and have a lot of fun. How about that?
Love that. I love that. I'm in.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll find a day. We'll get you both on and we'll bring Kristen back and just have fun.
Yep, I love that. That's a great idea.
So I've found this so educational, so
Yeah.
much so that I couldn't talk for a second there, which that's what everybody in the class that I teach, that's what they want to see, a day I can't talk. So I want to say thank you, Pat, for coming in today. Excuse me, Patrick.
Pat, that's fine. Yeah, Pat.
Pat, this has been so dang educational and so informative. This is awesome that you are actually adding to our career paths by
Yeah.
jumping in. You and Atrium have created a new pathway for athletic trainers to go down, which we don't get to do that often. So congratulations to you and Atrium on creating this career path. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
As an AT geek, I'm kind of geeking out right now.
Yeah, I'm really excited for kind of where this could lead us. And CJ is the perfect person to kind of have started this off for us. So yeah, if we could find a few more CJs, we'll be in good shape.
I think everybody would say that, right? Want to say thank you for being on our podcast today, Kristen. As always, wonderful to see you, and thank you for
You as well.
making the episode better just by being here. And thank you
I
for the
tried.
questions. And you're always wonderful. So thank you so much for putting up with me and everybody else around me.
And Patrick, thank you. This is a whole new side of NASCAR I hadn't seen. Like I spent a lot of times in the stands as a kid growing up, but I didn't get to see any of this, and so that was awesome.
Good. I'm glad you guys got something out of it because, like I said, I'm about a year and a half into my NASCAR knowledge, so that's all I got. You guys got it all.
That's better than me. I appreciate it. So thank you for being on the show. We appreciate you. And yes, we will be coming back with both you and CJ and Kristen, and we're going to have another episode on this. I guarantee it.
I love it. Let's do it.
All righty. You have a great weekend. Thank you for being on Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More. We're out. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Want to make sure you hear every episode? Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast. Don't forget to share our podcast with your colleagues, family, and friends. Your support will help more people find and enjoy our content. Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More is directed by Eli Hallak. It is produced by Gabriel Hallak. Our theme music is by Coma Studios via Pixabay. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the contributors. Want to know more about us? Visit us at wrapituppodcast.com. That's with one P, wrapituppodcast.com. Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More is a production of Hallak Consulting, LLC.